Good morning, everybody. It's Monday, April the 6th, 2020, and we are here again with another grammar passage for this week. As always, on our first day, we are going to be starting by looking at the first part of the grammar passage. It's right here. And as we're looking at it, we are thinking about, is this passage teaching us to revise or edit? How do we find that, guys? How do we find that? If you said read the directions, you are 100% correct because we always read our directions and that helps us understand exactly what we're doing with the passage. So as always, I'm going to go ahead and start with my directions. Gia wrote this paper about monumental sculptures. She would like to read her paper and look for any edits she needs to make. When you finish reading, answer the questions that follow. Okay, take about 10 seconds. What's our key word there to let us know if we are doing revising arms or editing cups? What's our key word there? If you said any edits, you are correct. So seeing that we're making edits this week, we are doing cups. So all of your questions that are come are going to be answering something to do with capitalization, usage, punctuation, or spelling. All right. Now we are back, and I want us to go ahead and look now at the passage because before we answer any questions, we always have to figure out what is our central idea. What is the author teaching us or telling us, or what is this passage mainly describing? That helps us understand when we go back and do our revising and edit, get the passage a little bit clearer for us. So I'm going to read through it, and as I'm reading through it, what I want you to do on the side is after I read a paragraph, maybe make a little note about what that paragraph is about, and then we're going to piece all that together to get our big central idea. A monument is something that honors a person, place, or event. Many times, monuments are large statues called monumental sculptures. People have made monumental sculptures for centuries. Three famous examples are the Terracotta Army, the Sphinx, and the Statue of Liberty. China's Terracotta Army is a group of 8,000 statues. They were buried over 2,200 years ago with Emperor Qi, the first ruler of China. They show soldiers, performers, and servants. Each one is different. The statues were a monument to Qi's power. The Sphinx is a giant statue. It has a lion's body and a person's head. It is the largest statue in the world, one of the largest statues in the world. It is over 240 feet long and over 65 feet high. Egyptians built the Sphinx over 4,500 years. It may have been built to guard a tomb, or perhaps to honor a king. The United States has many famous statues, but the best known is the Statue of Liberty. The statue was a present given by the people of France in 1884. It represents independence and freedom. It shows a woman wearing a long robe. She holds a torch in her right hand. Throughout history, people have built monumental sculptures. They honor people, places, and events. These statues are some of our greatest treasures. Wonderful. Interesting read. So as I was reading, I saw a couple of things that I was like, ooh, these are some errors that are there. I didn't circle them because I don't want to give them away for you. But as always, when you're reading through any revising and editing passage, if you see errors, especially if it's an editing one, so you see a spelling error, you see punctuation missing, feel free to circle that while you're reading, because often that's going to be one of the questions that you're going to have to answer. So you're kind of helping yourself out. So as I was reading that, as always, I was thinking like, what could the central idea be? What was the author mainly talking about? So I know in this first paragraph, we get introduced to this first term called monumental sculptures, right? And then each consecutive paragraph after that, they just told us. So Terracotta Army, the Sphinx, and the Statue of Liberty. So we were introduced to three different monumental structures. So I'm going to say our central idea is famous, monumental sculptures. And since we saw China, we saw Egypt and the United States, I'm going to say around the world. Okay. And it kind of said why they were made, right? So I'm going to say famous monumental sculptures and why around the world and why they exist. Okay. It taught me about 3 sculptures and it kind of gave me a brief rundown of why each sculpture exists. Why does the Terracotta Warriors exist? Why does the Sphinx exist? Why is the Statue of Liberty there? Okay. Very short, very simple today. So now that we have our central idea, and you should have already written this down, in the Google Drive, there should be a space for you to write it down, or you can write it on here and then transfer it to the Google Drive so your teacher can see it. And then we're going to go to questions 1 and 2 today. So next on Wednesday, we're going to do questions 3, 4, and then Friday we'll finish the last 2. Wednesday, I'm going to add something special too to the grammar. But today we're just going to look at these 2 questions. So what change, if any, should be made in sentence number 3? So what change, if any, should be made in sentence number 3? If you were unaware if it's editing or revising, if you see these what change, if any questions, those are always going back to these editing questions. What change, if any, always going back to editing. So I'm going to go back and read sentence 3 because I don't remember it. And you don't have to remember it because we're not memorizing things. It's just a test for us to be able to pick out an error. Go back to sentence 3. And it says, people have made monumental sculptures for centuries. Again, people have made monumental sculptures for centuries. I see an error there. And I want to give you a couple seconds to see if you can see the error there. I see an error there. If I were to go through my list, okay, do I have a subject? Yes. Do I have a predicate? What are people doing? They are making monumental sculptures. Okay, that's fine. So I know it's a complete sentence. It has a period there, capitalized there. There's no proper nouns in there. Now I'm going to go to spelling and see if all the words are spelled right. So people, I know how to spell that. Have, made. The word monumental is here, so I can check that. The word sculpture is here. I can check that. For centuries. Something looks a little tricky about centuries, right? Centuries. Let's think about the word country. C-O-U-N-T-R-Y, right? If I want to make country into countries, what happens to that Y, guys? C-O-U-N-T-R-I-E-S, right? That Y comes off. So if I'm doing the same thing with centuries, it has a Y there. What should come with that Y? Let's go and see if there's anything in the answer choices that can allude to the fact that centuries may not be spelled correctly. Change capitalized people to lowercase people. Well, people comes at the beginning of the sentence, so the beginning of the sentence always has to be capitalized, so that doesn't make sense. Change have made to has made. They has made, they have made. More than one person. Has is singular. It has. He has. But they're talking about many people. So have made, plural. So we wouldn't make that change because that's correct. Centuries to centuries. Oh, we just talked about that. Right here, the IES. That's ending. Put a question mark and make no change. So since we already have one that has a question mark, we know that it's not make no change, right? So the correct answer here is C. As always, what is your IKB? Before I share mine, take about 20 seconds. This one should be quick. What is your IKB? I know because. So I know because century, which means 100 years, ends in a Y, and to be plural, you need IES, right? Century ends in a Y, and to be plural, you need IES because it's talking about more than one. It says for centuries, so hundreds and hundreds of years they've been doing that. So we can't have YS, it needs to be IES. Last one for today. What change, if any, should be made in sentence number 6? Okay, so sentence 6, what change, if any, should be made? Add a comma after they. Oh, what did I not do, guys? You did not stop me. I got to go back and read sentence 6. not a memorization test. That was an honest mistake. I didn't even plan that. So let's go back and read sentence 6 correctly. They were buried over 2,200 years ago with Emperor Qi, the first ruler of China. I think I'm saying his name correctly. I don't speak Chinese, but I think that's right. We're going to go with Emperor Qi. They were buried over 2,200 years ago with Emperor Qi, the first ruler in China or of China. As always, I'm going to go back and check and see, do I have my subject? Do I have a predicate? Do I have verbs in there? Or do I have all things to make it a complete sentence first? And then I'm kind of going to go through my checklist, like punctuation there, capitalization, spelling. I'm going to go through my checklist to see what the error could be. So, talking about the terracotta group, they, so that the they is talking about the terracotta army. That's correct. Starts with the capital. They were buried over 2,200 years ago with Emperor Qi, comma, the first ruler of China. Okay, so they were is all past tense. I think the usage is fine. The nouns and the verbs match because we're talking about in the past. Is there punctuation? Well, yep, there's a period, or sorry, comma there because you're introducing that he was the first ruler. There's a period at the end. That's fine. We missed capitalization. Let's see if there's any capitalization issues. They were buried over 2,000 years ago with Emperor Qi. Emperor Qi is his what? Emperor Qi is his title, right? His title, Mr. Martin, right? That's my title. President Trump, right? That's the title. So if you have a title there, that is considered what kind of a noun? It is a proper noun, guys. And all proper nouns must be capitalized. So Emperor Qi should be capitalized, right? So let's go back and see, excuse me, if any of those match up to our answers here. Add a comma after they. They, comma, I'm sorry, where is it? They, comma, were buried. Not necessary. So we already talked about that buried, IED, because that Y is there, so we know that's not correct. Ding, 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 ding. And then make no change doesn't make sense because we have one that we already discussed. His title needs to be capitalized. So the correct answer is H. What is your I know because? 20 seconds. What is your I know because? This one should be very simple and easy. So I put, I know because emperor, which means like king. Emperor is a part of his title. And it's a proper, what? Noun. Excuse me. Emperor is a part of his title and it's a proper noun. So it should be capitalized because we know that proper nouns are always capitalized. All right, thanks guys for listening this morning. I hope you have a wonderful Monday. Get outside this afternoon, move your bodies around, and have a great day of learning. We'll be back here on Wednesday for 2 more grammar questions and then another little grammar activity that we're going to be doing on Wednesday. Have a great day. Talk to you guys later.